Hey everyone, welcome back to the Brand Direction podcast. I'm Aiden, and this podcast is brought to you by BBLD. Over the last 3 episodes, we've explored the foundations of branding, how to refresh your brand without losing your core, and how to use the brand steering wheel to keep everything aligned. Today we're diving into something that's often overlooked but is crucial for long-term success: implementing your brand strategy across your entire organisation. It's one thing to have a solid brand strategy in place, but it's a whole other challenge to make sure that every single person in your company understands it, believes in it, and knows how to communicate it. So let's get into how you make that happen. Alright, so you've got your brand strategy set. Your visuals are updated, your messaging is sharp, and you've even made sure everything is aligned using the brand steering wheel. But here's the thing. If the people inside your company aren't on board with your brand, it's going to be really tough to make it stick with your customers. This is where internal alignment becomes critical. It's not enough for your marketing department to know the brand inside and out. Your entire organisation, from leadership all the way down to customer service reps, needs to be aligned with your brand strategy. Think about it. Every single person in your company represents your brand in some way, whether they're dealing with customers directly or working behind the scenes. So, how do you make sure everyone's on the same page? The first step is internal buy-in. This means getting your whole team to really understand the brand and, more importantly, believe in it. It's not just about handing out brand guidelines and hoping everyone reads them. It's about making sure that every employee understands why the brand exists, what it stands for, and how they play a role in representing it. One of the best ways to do this is by holding brand workshops or training sessions. These workshops should go beyond just explaining the visual elements of the brand. They should dive into the deeper aspects like your company's mission, values, and the overall brand personality. When employees feel connected to the brand's purpose, they'll be much more likely to embody it in their everyday work. Here's an example. Let's say your company is all about providing an amazing customer experience. It's part of your brand identity. Your customers know that when they come to you, they're going to be treated like VIPs. But what happens if your customer service team isn't fully aligned with that brand promise? Maybe they don't have the tools or training to live up to the expectations your brand sets. If there's a disconnect between what your brand promises and what your customers actually experience, that's a huge problem. That's why it's so important to give your team the resources and support they need to live out the brand. For example, if customer experience is a key part of your brand, make sure your customer service team has the training and autonomy to go above and beyond for your customers. When your employees are empowered to represent the brand authentically, that's when the magic happens. Next, let's talk about consistency. It's not enough to get your team excited about the brand once and then move on. You have to keep the brand alive internally every day. One way to do this is by creating clear brand communication guidelines, not just for marketing, but for everyone in the company. These guidelines should cover things like how your team should talk about the brand, how they should engage with customers, and even how they should represent the brand in their personal interactions with clients or partners. Having these guidelines in place ensures that no matter who a customer is dealing with, whether it's someone in sales, customer support, or even accounting, they're getting a consistent brand experience. This is what builds trust and familiarity with your brand over time. Another powerful tool you can use is internal brand ambassadors. These are people within your company who really get the brand and are passionate about it. They can be your go-to team members when it comes to keeping the brand alive internally. Think of them as brand champions. They help ensure that everyone in the company is living and breathing the brand every day. These ambassadors can be from any department and don't necessarily need to be in leadership positions. Sometimes having someone on the ground level who's excited about the brand can be even more impactful. Now, internal alignment isn't just about training and workshops, it's also about making your brand a part of the company culture. Your brand should be something that your employees interact with on a regular basis, not just something they hear about once during onboarding and never think about again. This could be as simple as incorporating the brand into internal communications or celebrating when your team successfully represents the brand in a meaningful way. The more you weave the brand into the daily operations of your company, the more naturally it will be adopted by your team. One more thing to consider: feedback loops. Your employees are on the front lines of your brand every day. They're interacting with customers and getting real-time feedback on how the brand is being received. Make sure you're tapping into that knowledge. encourage your team to share their insights and experiences about how the brand is working or not working in practice. This feedback is invaluable when it comes to making sure your brand stays relevant and adaptable. So, to wrap it up, building internal alignment around your brand is just as important as what you're showing to the outside world. It's about getting your whole team on board, making sure they understand and believe in the brand, and giving them the tools and support to represent it in everything they do. When your internal team is aligned, your brand comes through stronger, more consistently, and more authentically to your customers. Incorporating your brand into the daily life of your company will ensure it's not just something your customers experience, but something your employees live and breathe. That's when your brand becomes unstoppable. Thanks for tuning in to the Brand Direction podcast by BBLD. If you've enjoyed this series, don't forget to share it with others who might find it useful. Keep building, keep growing, and keep steering your brand in the right direction. I'm Aiden, and until next time,